I had my third child, and that was 2014. I quit my job. I used to do dispatching for about 9 years, and I loved the people that I worked with. But the job itself was super, super stressful. So I knew having like a third baby that I wanted to kind of be a stay-at-home mom and take it a little bit easier and not have such a demanding job. So I did that. I quit, had my baby, cleaned my house for 6 months, cooked all the food you could cook. And with my type A personality, I got bored a little. And I know like my children and my family is my mission here on earth, but I kind of didn't like, there's something that was like missing that like I wanted to do a little bit more. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know. I just felt like I was in my PJs half of the time,
Yeah.
taking care of the kid. And like, I loved like makeup and like skincare all throughout my life. I think it started back in like seventh grade. We moved to the States in 97. It was February, and it was a
Where did you
middle.
move from?
Oh, so we moved from Russia. So
Okay.
my parents moved from Russia, and I thought maybe they will give me like a little break and we don't have to go and finish, the end of the year. It's, February of seventh grade. But no, they stuck me in school. And I knew yes, no. And I said, thank you very poorly with an accent before I learned the TH. So going into it and not knowing anything, like I can't relate to these girls and in
Mhm.
seventh grade and middle school is hard. And one thing that I could relate was like makeup. And
Mm.
we grew up super conservative. So at 12, I would buy myself 497 clear mascara. You couldn't tell I had it on, but it gave me all the confidence in the world to like get up and go and be in the midst of all these
Yeah.
girls that I couldn't really relate
Fit
in any
in.
other way or fit in. And that like one way that I felt like I wear mascara.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell, but I did. So that was like my little confidence booster, and like I always liked it. And when you know hormones and having babies, your body changes, and I feel like that was like one way that like putting a little bit of makeup on or having a good skincare routine like gave me a little bit of confidence. Yeah, and that's like having a baby and like being at home. I didn't wear as much, but I still wore makeup just because it made me like, just gave me that little boost of confidence. I was doing
Mhm.
it for myself and how I felt in it. And when you have a baby, when you have kids one day, you go through this process of like decluttering your house. You get rid of all the toxic ingredients and like cleaners. I got organic soap to wash clothes. I prepped like meal prepping, like all of these toxic things like left my house prepping for the baby.
Mm.
And I didn't even think that makeup would or skincare would have harsh ingredients that could harm my baby at that time. Like,
Mhm.
didn't cross my mind. I mean, it was sold at the stores. It gotta be safe for
Yeah,
you,
you just think
right?
it's
I
safe.
mean, it's sold, so it gotta be good for you, or at least healthy for you in a way. And
Can't be
then
toxic.
it can't be toxic.
That
It
would be
can't like
crazy.
it can't mess up with my hormones or, be harsh for my baby, right?
Mhm.
And then I started like learning more about the ingredients, like
Mhm.
shopping for my kids. And then I started looking at what I was wearing. And it had some horrible like formaldehydes, petroleum driven, like derived ingredients. And I'm like, wait, like I'm putting that on my skin and like I kiss my kids, like they kiss me and like,
That's
they
so
get
cool. I've
out
never
of
even
it.
thought about that.
Right? And I think the first time when I saw like glitter on one of my kids, I'm like, oh, that's from my eyeshadow. And I didn't think about it until I started doing research and you go into rabbit holes of like looking for things. And back in like 2014, there's not much available in like clean beauty space. I
Mm.
feel like this decade we came such a long way and we have so many options. But like 10 years ago, you didn't have much options and online shopping wasn't as big as it is now.
Mhm.
So like going to the store, I'm like, oh, this is crappy. I don't want it, like if it's healthier, but I didn't like what it was doing or not doing. So I started like doing a little bit of my own things. Like first thing I made was like a lip balm, and then I made some body scrubs, body creams, and it was going to be just like a little hobby to keep me entertained.
Yeah.
My husband built me like a little studio in our old house that we used to live in and downstairs. So I had like a little space where, a little she shed, if you
Mhm.
will. And I've started from there.
What possessed you to think that you can just make this stuff?
Well, I love cooking. And it's like once you start looking up how to make things, a lot of it is like ingredients
Hmm.
and cooking. You use like kitchen equipment, like mixers, double boilers, like and as Slavic people, we like to cook. So I'm like, hey, I can do this. And then for people that I worked for, he had beehives. So and they had all these beeswax, like, oh, we just throw it away. Like, we don't need it. Like, do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, I'll process it. Like, I'll clean it up. And, that's how like a lip balm became a lip balm. And my husband actually struggled with like a cracked lip.
Hmm.
Uh, and it actually helped. And I'm like, this is amazing. It actually works. And it's super simple ingredients. Once I decided that like this is what I want to do and I want to pursue it as a business, I did take some classes like organic science and formulations. Later, I went and got my master's in aesthetics and like learned how our skin works. So I did get some education, but my first couple years, oh, not even couple, maybe first year was like Google University,
Mm.
like Googling, looking up and reading books and like a lot of research.
Yeah. I'll bet there wasn't that many resources out there.
Not at that time, there really wasn't. Now you could find a lot more, but at that time, it was just kind of coming up with the ingredients and looking
Mhm.
up and DIY. DIY was kind of big, and Etsy was just starting up. So I had a friend who used to live here, and then she moved to Florida, and she had a little store with like hair clips that she started, and it looked like it was doing well. So I called her up. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking of doing Etsy. Like, still a little nervous. Like,
Was
what
that
do
the
you
first
think?
time you decided, like, I can maybe, I'm going
Yeah.
to see if I can make some money from this?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
before that, my sister who lives in Ohio, she lived at she worked at one of the largest spas, and she gave one of my lip balms to spa manager, and she's like, "Oh, can she make some for us to sell?" And I'm like, "I don't have a business, I don't have a name, I don't have insurance, like I don't have anything." Well, they're like, "Well, put her on. She could use our logo." So I made some stuff for them, and it sold, and actually sold for a lot more pricier than what I sell it for.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, people are buying it.
That says so
Hmm.
much about brand and
Yeah.
like how you position your
Yeah.
products.
Oh, at that time, there was none of that really. It
Yeah.
was just a product with their logo on,
Mhm.
really. But they enjoyed the product.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm like, okay, like I could try Etsy. So I tried to do Etsy, and just consistency. And I tried to do markets local, and they did super well. But back 2015, online shopping wasn't like huge yet.
Hmm.
And I had hard time converting like local people going and shopping with me online. They would buy things at the markets and they're like, "Oh, we love your product." And I'm like, "Hey, if you buy online, I'll deliver it to your house for free." But like I still had such a hard time converting them to online shopping. But then once kind of Etsy, I had one product that went viral, and then I started getting like more orders and just all over United States.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy to think how much consumer behavior has changed in the last 10 years,
oh, it has.
specifically when it comes to shopping
And
online.
COVID changed our behavior a lot between convenience and online shopping, or it got even bigger. So,
Yeah. So you started online and retail at the same exact time. How long did you do that before your business really started growing?
about a year. I feel like I've done markets and kind of seen what people liked, what people didn't like. I was still learning. I didn't have no business degree, so it was all
Mhm.
just like reading books, listening to podcasts, and like seeing what others have
Self-taught.
done.
I love
So
that. I think it's so much better just to learn. I
I
mean, there's so
agree.
many resources too.
And you learn on your mistakes. And one thing that I've learned, you always trust your gut. Anytime I did not trust my gut, it wasn't the result I was looking for. So just learning how to trust yourself and
Mhm.
your decision making. So that was huge.
In that year before it really blew up, what was your gut telling you? And how did it feel like in that first year when you were just getting it off the ground?
For me, it was like really fulfilling, like seeing people that I don't know buy my product, like from Etsy, and like seeing the reviews. I just felt I started building like a little bit of a community on like Instagram. It was super, super small. And if you go back and look at the photography and stuff, it was horrible. I'm like, how did people even buy with these horrible pictures? But that was okay for, I guess, 10 years ago. I did the best I could for what I had. And it was just very fulfilling. Like it fulfilled me. Like I enjoyed customer service at that time, or like hearing people like, "Oh my goodness, like I really enjoy your product," or it helped with X, Y, and Z. And I don't know, I just had that fulfillment, and like
Mhm.
working with ladies, like I always had passion for like woman ministry, and this is what I do at our local church. And so like having that little bit connection, like it was just very fulfilling besides, being a wife and a mother, which I love very, very much. But I also enjoy kind of having a little bit of things that like fulfill me in the
Mhm.
personal level.
No, for sure. I actually feel that so much right now when doing this podcast. Seeing some of the comments that I've been seeing on YouTube have been so moving, and it feels so fulfilling to
Yeah.
like I feel like I love helping people, but like feeling seen.
Yeah.
Like that I can help people and feel seen at the same time.
Exactly.
How are you able to balance being a mother, a wife, and a business owner?
I
Crazy
don't think there
combination.
is a balance. I really, really don't think balance exists. You always give more attention to one or another. And like with kids growing up, we try to make sure they're not obviously neglected and they had what they need and we gave them our attention. So it had like boundaries. In the
Mhm.
beginning, I've had like a little room, we'll call it she shed. It was not a she shed, but it was like a whole little lab that my husband made me. And like I would close the door and then when the kids are like dinner time, bedtime, and then I'll come back after they go back to bed and we kind of go back into it and do work. Beginning was a lot of hours. Like
Mhm.
if you convert I mean, it was negatives, but like I just had that vision and like I knew what it could be and a little bit of stubbornness in me to like prove that I could do it. Pushed me to continue doing what I was doing. But now with kids, when it was super busy, like between like when we started the Airstream, I don't know if you remember Airstream.
No, no, no. But I have heard about this. So
Okay,
you had an Airstream
I
downtown,
did.
right?
Okay, this is a
Okay,
God thing, so I got to talk about
okay,
this.
okay, okay. So tell me about this Airstream.
Okay. So I've done markets. They did super well. Still had hard time converting local people at the time. I had orders on Etsy from other states, people that don't even know me, but like local people I still had hard time converting. And I really wanted to get into like makeup. And at that point, I'm like, I wouldn't personally go and buy makeup without like trying to make sure the color fits and make sure
Mhm.
I like it. And I was like, let me see if I could share a space with somebody, like rent a little portion. Couldn't find it. Our prayer was, God, if it's your will, may we find a space in downtown on Main Street. It was like, that's what we want.
Mhm.
And if it's your will, it will happen. If it's not, maybe it is a sign that maybe I need to kind of slow down or do something else. But I was super, super direct of what we wanted. And I was like, hey, with my husband, like, let's pray about this. If it's God's will, that's what's going to happen. If not, it's not. And I believe in faith. I believe in God. And I know He has things better than I could even imagine. And I start going and I'm like, okay, where can I find like a space on Main Street in downtown? Um, there wasn't any rent available. I couldn't find anybody to share a space with. And I think we were about praying about 2 weeks or so at this time. And I'm like, okay, like I have this like fire in my belly and there isn't a space.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on, God. Like, do I get a space? Like,
Hurry
do I
up,
get to
God.
do this? Like, I'm ready. And at that same time, I don't know if you remember, we had like Grilled Cheese Mania. She had a food truck in
Yeah, yeah,
42.
I
We
remember.
had a couple food trucks starting around town. And I'm like, what if we had a food truck? Like, what if we got a truck
That's a
and
crazy
convert
idea.
it into a store? And my husband's like, well, what happened about like Main Street, downtown? I'm like, no, 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 still Main Street, downtown. He's like, who in the world is going to let you park a camper in the middle of the downtown? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. So I got a couple of my products. I took my little baby in the stroller, and I didn't know who owned the parking lot between where Taj of India now is.
And Jack
In Czech,
Brown's.
yep, right in between. I'm like, I don't know who owns it, but let me walk in into Jess's lunch. And the owner was there, and I'm like, hey, can I rent like 3 parking units from you? She's like, sure, yeah, yeah. We rent them like $50 per parking, like we have some available. And she's showing me like where they're available. I'm like, no, no, no. I need them together and I need them in the front. And she's like, huh? And she's like, what are you trying to do? She's like, it's my parking. It's personal, her personal
Yeah, yeah.
parking spots. And I'm like, well, I want to do a store. I want to put an Airstream there. And she's like looking at me like, what is Airstream? Like looking at me like super confused.
Mhm.
So I Google Airstream. I show her Airstream. I tell her like kind of what I want to do. And she's like, there's no electricity. There's no like really, I think parking lot had maybe an address, to like get permits and stuff. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I will put electricity in there. I will figure it out. Can you put it on paper that I could have those 3 spots? And at that point, I didn't even have the Airstream. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to get the Airstream, but like, let me secure Main Street,
Location,
downtown
location,
location.
location.
So, and she's like, are you sure you want to put this in writing? Like, I'm like, give me 6 months. I am going to rent them. So I made her write me a contract. I don't want to go spend money that I don't have.
Right. Especially for a plan that this is a crazy plan.
I know, it is a crazy plan, and people thought I was crazy. Hey, so I come back home and they have a little contract for my husband. I'm like, Airstream? Main Street? Downtown? Got answered. He's like, we don't have an Airstream. I'm like, I know. Can we look? So we started looking for a fixer-upper. We found one in North Carolina. We drove, picked it up. It took my husband a couple months to restore it. Tried to go to City Hall and explain to them what I'm trying to do. Was another.
That
They're
must have
like,
been fun.
we don't know what to put you under. I'm like, put me under food truck. I don't care. They're like, we could do that. So I got electricity, got my Airstream, and I think that that was not my plan A.
Mm-hmm.
That was a crazy thought that you wake up in the middle of the night with. But it was, I feel like, a God's way of like starting me and giving me what we prayed for. If I went and rented a space right away, I would have been under the first year. There's no way I could have afforded having actual like storefront, because after that, a year in Airstream, and then we jumped into our location that you've been to, which was like 2,700 square feet. And there's no way that first year I could have been able to afford that. It was just building the clientele and letting people know. So my overhead was very, very little. My rent was $150.
That's amazing and so smart and so
right?
ambitious. But I'm sure so many people thought you were crazy. So the people from your community, how did they react when they saw you?
They thought I was like, that I was just like lost my mind or have nothing better to do. Like, why are you wasting your time? Like, somebody is like, called it like a train or something. It's like, did you park like a train? Like, people gave me the looks, but I feel like at that time I was 30, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I really don't care what people think about me anymore. Not in like a bad way. Like, I care what God thinks. I care what my husband thinks, and if I feel that is right in my heart, whatever I'm doing, like, I don't want to like put those limitations or those beliefs of what people say or think of me.
Yeah.
Like, stop me from doing something that like I really love. And I really did like struggle with that for a while, just because you kind of like look at, it's like, okay, you have nothing better to do. It's like, go work at trucking. Like, you did trucking. It's such a good money, and you could open your own trucking company, and
people
like,
have all their ideas.
Yeah,
and what you should do.
and then I'm like, I really don't care about the money. I do care about the money, but like I really don't care about the money. Like, I want to be happy. I want to go to work and do work that like brings me joy. Like, yeah, my first time I started paying myself was in Airstream. I started treating it as a job. It was not a hobby. So if it snowed and it was nasty outside and I knew I won't have a single person walking in, I still went to work. We didn't close. I'm like, if I said this is when I'm open, I'm going to be there. Like, on the days I didn't feel like going, no, I went. I'm like, this is my job. And I treated it like a job. Like, I didn't treat it like a hobby. That like, oh, I could go. Maybe I'll close today. No, like, I went.
We're in business.
We're in business. I'm doing this as a job. And, I wanted to do this. This is like my fulfillment. And I paid myself $150 a week. Okay, so worked 60 hours. So you do the math. It was not a lot of money. Like, but I also like wanted to make sure, like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to cover our groceries. And kind of started from there. Now WithSimplicity supports my entire family, but back then it was $150 salary.
Wow.
With overtime included.
When you say that you struggled with that in the beginning, can you tell me a little bit more about that? What did that struggle look like?
It was just, when you're doing something and you're like, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And you think of maybe one or two people that probably don't care about you. You have zero relationship with them, like, but for some reason their opinion would like hinder you from doing something, but they are very insignificant people in your life, but they would pop up, and I just had to overcome. And this is when I started doing more like self-improvement books and podcasts, and like just growing within myself and like my confidence and different areas and like my faith. We at that time we also switched churches. We're kind of in the process. I think it was just a lot of change in our
Mhm,
family at that time, and just me growing. I think I was hitting my 30s. Like I
mhm,
was in my, I was 30, yeah, and 31 when I started like actually business. So I'm like, okay, like I need to start adulting. And I need to change, like, work on my mindset and my
mhm,
shift in my mind. Like, what does it look like, to do things that I actually enjoy? I'm not doing it because somebody else wants me to do something,
mhm.
if that
That's
makes sense.
no, that totally makes sense,
Yeah.
and this is something that I've noticed a lot of women struggle with.
Hmm.
I'm in a bunch of, like, coaching classes and
Yeah.
whatnot, and I don't know if it's because 'cause I'm a guy or maybe I'm just specially made, but I've always just been like, "I don't care what you think, and
Yeah.
my mind is made up. I wanna do this, so I'm doing it. I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care if, like, anything happens. I just know I'm gonna do this, and your opinions, I
This might be part of the guy thing
I I think
too.
it might
Like,
because I see a lot of women struggle with this.
yeah,
It's
like,
afraid to be wrong, and I think a lot of it comes down to maybe how they grew up and how they
yeah.
were told to have good grades, and I mean, it
Hmm.
might be more of a family specific thing, but I guess my question is, what advice do you have for other women that are kind of struggling with, like, caring about society's opinions of them?
They really don't care. You're the only person who cares about what they think. Those people that you put in your head or what society thinks, at the end of the day, they probably don't care.
Mhm.
It's you who think that they care what I'm doing
How do you
or
stop caring? Because like, I feel like
it's
they kn
really, really hard.
if
I think when I start doing it, and I think you always look for outside validation, and
Mhm,
I start getting it from customers, and I start getting it from people who like would buy my product and enjoy it. I remember I had a lady come. We already had our storefront. It was our first big storefront, and there was two elderly ladies came in, and a friend brought a friend, and she wanted a little bit of a makeover. Like, oh, can you do my eyebrows just a little bit, touch up? They didn't say nothing to me at that time, and I start doing her eyebrows, and all of a sudden I see like some hairs fall out, and I'm like, I don't want to call it out. I don't want to say like I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of pressed on. I finished a little bit of a makeover, and I show her her mirror, and she starts bawling, crying. I did not know she was going through chemo. And that little bit of makeup just made her feel a little bit alive and like herself. And that's where I started getting my validation.
mhm,
I had a lady who used to come to Airstream. Her name was actually Allison, and she would come for chemo and she would sit at the Airstream with me just to talk. She said, I don't want to talk to my family or friends about certain things. And she would just literally sit in a corner for 30 minutes while she was waiting for, I'm not even sure what she was waiting. Sometimes she'll buy something, sometimes she'll just come and just talk to me. She'll just sit there. And like, that's where I started getting like my validation and like where I was like, you know what, like I'm making a difference. I'm doing something that I love and I see other people appreciate it and I know I'm like helping somebody. And that's when I was like, I don't care what like little voices in my head might say or disagree. I know I'm doing the right thing.
yeah, there's, like, people outside of your life that you know they're not gonna contribute to it, and there's
Yes.
people that actually do start that you know that are gonna be in it and actually want what you have, and
Yeah.
yeah, you do want them in your life. So I think something that might help is just figuring, like, segmenting the people and being like, "This is someone whose opinion doesn't matter." It
Yeah.
might sound mean, but, like, it doesn't matter, and these people who I'm actually helping, their opinion does
Oh,
matter.
and those people come around. It's just like I think when I started, it wasn't very popular really in our culture to like have something that's like a hobby business, if you will.
Mhm.
Everybody was doing, like construction, trucking, like all of these like big things, and then I'm
But
here
not
selling
many
lip
women
balm.
were doing that.
Oh, there was no woman doing it. There wasn't like all these Instagrams with cakes and nails and baking. Now it is. And every time I see, I'm so, so happy to see somebody like step outside their comfort zone or putting themselves. It's, hard to put your work and let people see it and be judged
Be
on it
vulnerable.
and being vulnerable. So every time I see it, I don't know, it makes me happy. And I'm just so happy that they're doing that. But at that time, I had a friend who did an Etsy shop that I knew that was from our community, and that's pretty much it. And then after that, you'll see start people like baking or painting and doing other things and like doing what they love. But at that time, it was like, and I also hated failing. So that I had to overcome, like, what if I fail tomorrow? Like,
Yeah.
what does that look? I didn't care for myself if I failed. I think I struggled, like, that I'm going to fail and embarrass myself in a way, like
Mhm.
publicly, because my business is very public and like social media is big for my business. I don't personally maybe love social media as much, but I need to have social media for the business and it's like super public. And I'm like, what if something doesn't go right or
Yeah.
something like flops, like, but I just had to overcome that as well.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your relationship with social media. I find that fascinating.
So personally, like, I don't personally enjoy doing social media. I do have a personal account and I just here and there post things. Social media is not my strong suit and I'm not great with it. And like, I don't enjoy personally spending a lot of time on
Yeah.
it. And it does get you sucked in
Relatable.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
But I know like when we don't post, like this is where people find us. If we stop posting, we do see a difference in our sales. So for With Simplicity, we have to have social media, but I do have an amazing team that does my social media. I don't personally have to do
Yeah.
it.
Tell me more about like how, at what point did you bring that team on? And like,
hmm
at what point did your business start growing? And did you realize I need outside help?
So I think it was around maybe 2017. I was a couple years in the business and I was doing great, but I didn't have like this huge spike that I was waiting. I had a huge spike between Airstream and like my regular store that we opened. I think we grew like 500% or something that year. Like it was a huge spike in sales. And then like maybe 2 years went by and it was kind of like steady and we had this growth like 10-15%, but it didn't have that spike. And I'm like, okay, I need that next spike. Like, what is it going to take? And I feel like at that time, I don't know if you remember, we had like social media management companies locally pop up like everywhere. And they did
Yeah.
such a
There's
good
a few of them.
job marketing themselves. So I hired a marketing company and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Maybe there's like a special sauce that I'm missing. They did work for, I think, 3 months consistently, and there was nothing. Like every goal that they set out for themselves, they did not achieve because it is a hard, you know, nobody knows the business as good as you. If they
Right.
tell you they do, they don't.
And that's, I think marketing companies rightfully get a bad rap because they overpromise all the time. And
Yeah.
then they'll even like say, we'll get you this many impressions and all this stuff. And sure, maybe they do, but that doesn't necessarily drive sales. Like
No.
driving sales is a very different thing.
It is very different. So that completely flopped. I still paid a lot of money. And I'm like, so we had our closing meeting and then the one of the girls who was on the team was like, hey, I don't know if she was joking or not, but she's like, are you hiring? And I'm like, I wasn't, but maybe I am. And at that time I was still scared to take on like a salary or a full-time employee. I had some upfront girls who worked for me, but they, very minimum. I didn't have anybody like full time dedicated to a position. So I've talked to her. I brought her in, and I feel like it was kind of in creative way. I paid her what she got paid, and then a percentage of sales. So if we do good, you get
Yeah.
a better pay. If we suck 1 month,
Yeah.
sorry, but I mean, she still got paid her hourly wage, what she was
Yeah.
making before. So, like, she had the living. And she worked with me for maybe a little over a year. And then they were going to move with her husband to Charlottesville. And she posted in one of her, I think, JMU pages. And Mary, who's our marketing person, well, now
Mhm.
she's a brand manager, but she literally responded in 2 minutes. And she was my, like, full good salary type of person who's been with me now for 6 years.
Wow.
So yeah.
So what happened after you brought on Mary?
Um, she did amazing. So, and I mean, the girl that I had before, she did a really good job, and they paid for their own salary, really just bringing in sales and doing social media. They weren't working for like 5 other companies and trying
Yeah.
to stretch. They loved what they do. They loved the products, and that was their full time job. So their payroll or their pay was pretty much
Match
make
with the
it
business.
back and then some. So I never regretted hiring that marketing position.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's one of the positions that small business usually waits to like less higher because you think you need like sales or like work or doing something.
Mhm.
But that position was really, really valuable.
Yeah. I think What do you think the cost would have been if you didn't hire a marketing person? Where do you think your business would be right now?
My Instagram would still suck. Like, I'm not very, I mean, I could take pictures, I could do this, but I don't, whatever, if it takes me like 2 hours and an hour to do a post or think of something, it will take me like 10 minutes. Like, she
Mhm.
does it on a fly where I have to think, then I overthink, then I delete, then I spell check, then I'll rewrite. Like, it just takes me such a long time. And then my time is better spent somewhere else where I could bring more
Yeah, yeah.
money, sales, revenues, and whatever else, and not spend time on a caption.
No, business owners are busy and they have
Yeah.
there's like a lot of things to do in a business.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people think they can do social media. And I'm not
No.
saying they can't. Maybe you could, but there's a lot of other things you have to do too.
Just hire people that are smarter than you,
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
How significant has social media been in the business now?
I mean, that's our bread and butter.
So it's been the biggest
The
driving
biggest
force.
driving force for our brand and in being in our industry. That's how people find you, and that's how people talk. And affiliate, we've been doing affiliates
Yeah, I
for
talked to
less.
Mary about this a little
Yeah,
bit. That
yeah.
is so amazing.
So that
I love
right,
good business owners. I
yeah.
love good business people that can just like, hey, look, and even what you did with your first marketing employee, how you were able to
Hmm.
be like, okay, look, we're going to set up with a win-win situation.
Yeah,
If you do well, you can get a percentage. I love that concept because it just incentivizes everyone and aligns the like,
yeah.
let's get this thing going. That way we can all win here.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm also like, I think I'm a risk taker in our family, but I'm like calculated risk taker. So like I always start from like the beginning. So even, or beginning, I always start with the end in mind. So like tomorrow, if we have zero sales, I always come up with a strategy, what I'm going to do if there's zero sales tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then like I build backwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I sleep better at night because I know if something doesn't work out or something happens like COVID, I know what my steps are, and I'm not going to put like myself or my family in jeopardy, like financially or
Mhm.
anything else
Yeah.
that might come with it.
And you're able to hedge like your
Yeah.
bets. So
Yeah.
you don't have to pay
And
people up front a huge amount. Like I know the thing with working with influencers
yeah.
is a lot of people want to charge a lot, but they can't drive the results. So I think when
Yeah.
you set up as an affiliate, it's very smart. What point did you realize that that's something that you're going to do?
Well, we tried that years ago. I think even back maybe 2018-ish or something. We had to like, get an app for our website to be able to like track all of this, and it was paid app. We tried doing it. It did okay, but it wasn't like great. Like
Mhm.
it didn't perform. So we completely scratched that idea for like couple more years, and we just did organic. So if somebody talked organically, great, thank you, and grew that way. And then we decided to try it again maybe 3 years ago. I'm like, hey, let's try this again. I feel like people are more familiar with affiliate and what it is. And
Social media
let's,
has just grown
yeah,
so
it just
much
grown
too.
so much. At that point, people did affiliate, but it wasn't as like mainstream or like used here and there, but it wasn't as big.
Mhm.
And then that's when it's like, okay, it actually took off.
Yeah. What do you look for in creators that you currently bring into the affiliate program? Like when you see an account and a creator,
Hmm.
what do you look for that tells you this is somebody I want to work with?
We look at their content and their audience. I don't care if you have 50 followers. I don't care if you have 50,000 or 500,000, and we have all of those. I just want to see what kind of content you create and if these are our customers. I know who our customer is. And then if I know those customers that you might have or whoever your followers or people that you can influence
Mhm.
to, are we the great fit for them?
Yeah, yeah. So
So
when you say content, what content specifically are you looking for? Like organic content or
yeah.
like just natural health?
Lifestyle.
Okay.
So make sure people appreciate that like healthy living and more of low tox and lifestyle. Like maybe they are a mom that are looking for better or easier solutions. So
Mhm.
somebody who's in that lifestyle.
Yeah. So your ideal customer is
Hmm.
probably a mom, right?
Yeah.
How soon did you figure that out?
Actually, it took me a minute.
Tell me
So
more
this is
about
a
that.
funny story. When I opened Airstream, and I don't know if you remember, I don't know how old you were at 2015, but it was like a hipster time. Like
Mhm.
all these hippies and hipster, everything was branded like that. And I'm like Airstream is super hip. I'm gonna attract the hipsters. So when I was like marketing and branding, that's that was the customer that I had in mind, even though I don't have a single hip bone in my body. I'm like a mom who likes sourdough and chickens, okay? So I'm like, oh, college student, I'm going to be this hip person, with Airstream. And we open the doors and I have moms trying to push their strollers in. You attract who you are at the end of the day. So they related to my story. And they were in the same situation where I was. So all of the moms came with the strollers and I loved it. But I'm like, okay, noted. I'm not a hipster.
That's funny. I love what you said about you attract who you are.
Yeah.
That's so good.
You really do, though. If, you're a mom, you're going to bring in. And they are our main customer, but we do have customers like their daughters, their moms.
Mm-hmm.
So they're our main customers, but a lady we have every age.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it comes with I think what you said was you started appreciating it as soon as you became a mother because you had this love for your child that you didn't want to expose them to anything bad or toxic. I think that might be where it starts. And then that's where the healthy lifestyle and healthy living really kind of kicks off. And then hopefully your children also can appreciate that and grow up in an environment where that is like the norm.
Yeah. And I hope so. And I mean, they know all about it. We'll see what choices they end up making. But hey, hopefully I'm rubbing you off.
I love that. So you've talked about your faith a little bit. It's really important to you, I can tell. What do you think God's calling for you is through this business specifically?
I'm hoping that I could empower and encourage ladies. Like it started out with like makeup, but like now being able to meet with quite a few ladies that like, hey, can I take you out for coffee? Like I'm trying to do this thing or I'm struggling with that. Like I love women ministry and this is what I'm passionate about. This is something where I serve in our church and I'm hoping that WithSimplicity will be just an extension and a platform for me to be able to continue my business, but also like be an impactful person. I remember back, I don't even know if I think I just started WithSimplicity. But I did this coaching with somebody local, and she had us write a little paragraph. If I'm 90 and I'm sitting on my porch, what does my life look like and who is around me? And I remember at that point, not knowing which church we're going to be in, what ministry I'm going to be in, what kind of business I'm going to have. I hope I could still find that paper, but I remember I wrote that I'm hoping that I am that wise lady that younger generation looks up to and I could encourage and empower them and I'm a godly woman. Like where life kind of been leading and it's kind of been all of that. And I wrote that like years before I knew what's going to happen. So, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be that person that people could come and I can have an impact on younger generation and like be an example for them and show Christ's love.
I think you already are.
Hope so.
I think you already are. You're already accomplished in the business sense, but also if you're leading women's ministry and affecting other women's lives, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm super passionate, and I hope I could do it as many years as God has me do this.
How do you see the future of WithSimplicity in the next 5 years?
One thing I've learned through COVID was do not plan ahead. And I feel like anytime I put myself, like I used to sit down with a team, including Mary, and we'll write like our 1-year plan, our 5-year plan, and like our 10-year dream. And I've like stuff that we've wrote, we exceeded like way, way, way before. And sometimes I feel like we put limitations on it. So every year I'm open for opportunities and what God has. And that led us into purchasing 2 buildings in downtown, which is insane. I could have never imagined like having property. And that was all like God's will. Like, and the way things turned out, it's like looking back, I'm like, that was a God thing. Like, I couldn't have even imagined. So I'm open and I want to see what God has for us and what's our next journey. Like, I don't have concrete, like, this is what I want. This is what's going to happen. But I'm just kind of like taking it year by year and doing my thing and hope for the best. I know that's maybe not what you wanted to hear.
No.
But
I
mean, for us, we continue to grow. Like, I definitely want to make sure I have an awesome team and continue pouring to them, continue growing. But I don't have, this is the number we want to reach. This is, like I don't put like numbers to the things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just kind of.
When you think about your business, how do you think, like someone asked you, like, how what have you been able to achieve? Like, how big is the business? How do you answer that? Do you say like employees? Do you say revenue? Like, do you like how do you quantify what you've been able to build so far?
That's a good question. I don't think anybody asked me that. um, I mean, we do have pretty big team, and for me, okay, if I'm talking not business but just personal, it's
Mhm.
my lifestyle. Like, I want to have time. Like, I want to be able to take time off whenever I want to take time off. I want to be able to travel. If my kid needs me, I want to be able to drop everything and be there for them. So for me, it's like I don't think like I have a number for it. It's just more how I'm living and like our lifestyle. Um, I don't want to tell you like I want a mansion and all these crazy things because like honestly, deep down in my heart, I really don't.
Just want your
I
chickens.
just I want my chickens, and we just got a new kitten, so it's cute. So like it's just my lifestyle and be able like I want to be financially free, which I feel like in my opinion, I don't want it to be say this like I am there. Like if you
Mhm.
told me where I would be here when we're just getting married and in my 20s, I would be telling you like there's no way. But it's nothing like grand or big. Like this is how like my feeling and my lifestyle. I do want to obviously make more money so I can do a better impact. I feel like lots of money in the hands of good people could do a lot of good. So I
Mhm.
could do more missionary trips and be able to help people more. So that way.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest impact that you're going to be able to do with this business? You've talked a little bit about ministry. You've talked about people being more healthy. At the end of the day, what is the biggest impact? Because, like, say you have all the money in the world, like, what is the byproduct of all this effort that you've put into this?
I want to like at the end of my life for people to be like supporting to me or you help like I help them in some way to be closer to God or have a better relationship with their spouse or their children. Just be a person that was had like an impact on somebody's life. And I'm hoping like my employees would say that they have a good place to work.
Yeah.
And I really do think I do provide that and just to have a really good atmosphere and good environment and be a good I hate the word boss, but I guess
No,
boss.
you're a boss.
I hate that word. I don't know why. I think it's the stigma or what I'm used to with that word,
Yeah.
So I think my employees are smarter than me.
Well, I think that's the way that you know that like, a good business person hires better people than themselves to do things.
A
Like,
hundred
I
percent.
don't think I'm not so full of myself that I think I'm the best at everything. Like, I know I'm
No.
not. And if I can bring on someone better than me, I would love to do that.
Oh my goodness, don't ask me anything about my website or anything on the blog because I don't know or how
Yeah,
to get there.
I'm gonna have to have Mary come in, and we're gonna
Oh
talk all
yeah.
about marketing
Yeah.
and the website and social and all that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Mary's your girl in that part.
I want to ask you one last question before we go.
Hmm.
What advice do you have for new business owners?
To trust your gut. I feel like I've mentioned that before, but like your gut is always right. So if you don't feel like something is right, it probably isn't. And then like not be afraid to do what you feel is right. And we haven't touched the subject, but like with simplicity started with like $200. Like I didn't have income. My husband was solo providing for our family at a time and I couldn't like take thousands of dollars and risk our family money. So I kind of took baby steps and maybe I would have grown a lot quicker if I maybe poured a whole bunch of marketing money or had a lot of capital. But at the same time, I feel like I had to learn so many like people managing and so many like lessons and like do internal work that maybe even if I had, like $100,000, I might have just blown through them just to
Hmm.
learn a hard lesson quicker.
Yeah,
But just taking it easy and taking a risk, but also calculate
yeah.
like what is it going to cost you if it goes away tomorrow.
Hmm. It's a great answer. I love how you followed your gut this whole way.
Oh, absolutely. And anytime I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should do it. It's always like, should have listened to my gut.